$9.95 while supplies last. I-77 exit 28, LakeNormanChrysler.com.
And now for a look at your weather forecast from the WSIC Weather Center. We are not quite out of the clear just yet. There's a 90% chance of precipitation through the evening and overnight hours. Otherwise, cloudy skies, and that low temperature is only going to be down around 53 degrees. Winds are going to pick up too through the overnight. We'll have gusts getting up to 26 miles per hour. This has been your weather forecast from the WSIC Weather Center.
Thought-provoking conversations and informed perspectives.
It's meant for everyday people to understand, and you don't have to stress about technical terms and stuff. They just say it like a real person.
WSIC News Talk Now.
All right, everyone. Hello. Welcome to the Scoreboard. Here on WSIC 105.9, 100.7 FM, and video always live to Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, LinkedIn, our website, WSICnews.com, and you can call in, be a part of the show if you'd like. That number 704-873-1400. Love to hear from you. Anything on your mind, local sports, high school, college, national stuff. It doesn't matter to me. We're here to talk about it. Anything and everything. You know, talk to me about, rugby if you want. I love some rugby. Here's the thing about rugby. This is a complete side note. How is it that they hit just as hard as NFL players without pads and there's nowhere near the number of concussions? That's some food for thought for you. Maybe it's the helmets that are the problem. It is. Anyway, good show for you here today. We're going to talk about things going on in the local high school area sports. Some basketball games from last night. One going on tonight, and then a few later on in the week. We'll make sure we touch on all of it because, well, Thursday is Thanksgiving, and Friday we will have Christmas music here on the station also. So we have today and tomorrow to get you ready for everything going on this weekend. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, rivalry week in college football, round 4 of the high school playoffs for football, basketball starting, Panthers this weekend. There's so much going on. So let's go ahead and get started with what you need to know from yesterday and from today. Some basketball games going on. Statesville High School played their second game of the year against Lincolnton yesterday. They fell in that one by a score of 71-68 after getting a win a couple of weeks ago against Tabernacle Christian to start their season. They don't play again until the second week of December. So a big break here for Statesville basketball. And they'll be on the road to face Mooresville before they come home 5 days after that for a game against North Lincoln, and then Lake Norman coming to town in that one. Also last night, Mooresville basketball had a game against Garinger High School. Oh my goodness. We're not going to spend too much time on this one. The final score in this game was 80-27. Yes, you heard me correctly. 80-27. Whew. It's a butt whooping right there. So Mooresville High School, they get to 1-1 on the year. They play on Friday at 1:30 against East Mecklenburg for their next game. And that one is day after Thanksgiving. No school in session there, and we won't be here. So remember that one. That game is on Friday. North Iredell basketball has a game later on today at 8 o'clock. They are on the road taking on Alexander Central, looking to start their season 2-0 after last week they beat South Iredell 74-49. So they're looking to go back-to-back wins here to start the year, get off to a hot start. They have a week off before they go to their next game on the road against West Rowan before they come home for a 3-game homestand early in December. So one more road game after today, and then they're back home to hopefully keep this early pace going as they got 1-0 to start the year, hopefully 2-0 after today. And, we'll have that one here for you tomorrow with the results. We'll be able to talk about that. Lake Norman basketball, they play on Friday. We already talked about them against Pine Lake and Cannon School to start the year. And also West Iredell. Their next game isn't until next week, along with South Iredell. So we have a little bit of time in between games here. So make sure you're paying attention to whatever school you like and you went to and you follow. And we'll be keeping track of the basketball seasons, as well as updating you on the playoffs for football, because I know we don't really have anyone super local still in the playoffs for football, but we do want to at least make sure we talk about it, see who's moving through the playoffs and who wins themselves a state championship this year. So we'll move on from the high school scene, because I want to make sure that we get to a lot of content going on for not only what we had still over the weekend that we didn't get time to talk about, but coming up Thursday, big NFL day, 3 football games. Friday, for the first time ever, Black Football Friday. That should be an interesting game as we have a new starting quarterback for the Jets. They'll be taking on the Dolphins. And then rivalry week in college football. So a lot of big games and a lot of big storylines to get to. I want to start with college football. ESPN had an article out about the 9 biggest games during rivalry weekend. I want to talk about one of them, because I think one of them is a little bit more important than the rest of them. First of all of the rivalry games, they're awesome. It's one of the best weeks in college football. I don't think anybody has a problem with rivalry week. But on Friday, after Black Friday football for the NFL, we will have a very big late night game against Oregon and Oregon State, 8:30. That Oregon is a 6 seed, Oregon State an 11 seed. And, that's as of right now. We're still waiting for the next college football rankings to come out. They haven't come out yet. And, well, we're sitting here kind of just waiting. Like, hey, can you figure it out? There's an article on ESPN that says, they waited too long to expand to 12 for the playoffs. Really? They waited too long. Oh, man, if only they had thought about this, 20, 30, 40 years ago. But, you already know how I feel about college football and the committee deciding. The committee has to decide whether they want to keep Florida State in the top 4 because Washington's really good and Florida State just lost their quarterback. Come on, give me a break. And I just know that Florida State's going to be 5th. I know. They won 58-13 or something crazy like that. And they're going to fall a spot in the rankings. But also, we have some other good rivalry games. Obviously, the 2 against the 3 on Saturday with Ohio State and Michigan. That is huge. And if Michigan loses, I wouldn't be surprised to see them fall out of the top 4. This could be an interesting week in college football, because not only with the rankings coming out today, we'll see whether or not Washington's going to move up a spot into 4. But also with that 2 and 3 game, if Oregon wins on Friday, they're just waiting to see which team's going to lose. And I'm sure they're going to be rooting for Ohio State, because Michigan might fall far enough for Oregon to sneak their way in there, depending how far they knock Florida State down. So we still have a long way to go in the college football season. We're going to continue to talk about it. We're coming up on a break, so I don't want to go too far into this conversation. Stay tuned. A lot going on in sports. We're going to talk about Monday Night Football later. That was huge. What a game. And we'll get you ready for the weekend, too. Don't go anywhere. You're listening to The Scoreboard here on WSIC. We're back after this.
Keep it right here. There's more of the Scoreboard with Joe Berg on the way from the new 105.9 100.7 WSIC.
Here's your WSIC community calendar. Happy Thanksgiving. From all of us at WSIC, we hope everyone is able to spend some time with those that they love. Join the Cornelius Parks and Rec Department this Saturday for the 12th annual Light Up Cornelius, presented by Novant Health from 4 to 7 p.m. in downtown Cornelius. Festivities will include holiday songs, train rides, a sledding hill, food and craft vendors, and a visit from Santa. See you Saturday! Want to see more than 5 million Christmas lights at one time? Speedway Christmas is back. Happening daily, the amazing Speedway Christmas at Charlotte Motor Speedway is happening now through January 7th. The show is open 6 to 10 p.m., rain or shine. The Infield Christmas Village is open Thursday through Sunday nights. Speedway Christmas at Charlotte Motor Speedway, now through January 7th. For tickets, visit charlottemotorspeedway.com. Community singers of Lake Norman are performing again Christmas style. December 3rd in Mooresville, December 5th in Huntersville, and December 11th in Cornelius, each evening at a different church. 3 shows, 3 nights. Community Singers of Lake Norman. For more info, visit lakenormansings.com. The Community Singers of Lake Norman. lakenormansings.com. The Docksiders, performing at Kane Center for the Arts on Saturday, December 9th, are almost sold out. The Docksiders will take you back to the year 1981. Their unique and electric tribute act of yacht rock features songs from Hall & Oates, Christopher Cross, Kenny Loggins, and more. The Docksiders, Saturday, December 9th at Kane Center for the Arts. To purchase your tickets, visit kanearts.org. Have an event you'd like to tell people about? Yard sales, estate sales, and everything in between? Visit WSICnews.com and click on events to submit your event today.
And now for a look at your weather forecast from the WSIC Weather Center. We are not quite out of the clear just yet. There's a 90% chance of precipitation through the evening and overnight hours. Otherwise, cloudy skies, and that low temperature is only going to be down around 53 degrees. Winds are going to pick up too through the overnight. We'll have gusts getting up to 26 miles per hour. This has been your weather forecast from the WSIC Weather Center.
Rev up your dreams with a bike from Tilly Harley-Davidson. Whether you're new to Harley or a seasoned pro, Tilly has the bike for you. Come experience the freedom of the ride. Feel the thrill of the road and the thunder that only a Harley can provide. Stop by Tilly Harley-Davidson of Statesville or go to tillyhd.com.
I heard on the news that an airline pilot spotted Santa's sled on its way in from New York.
You're home for non-stop Christmas music.
You serious, Clark?
Starting at 12 a.m. on Thanksgiving Day.
The Scoreboard with Joe Berg continues now on the new 105.9 100.7 WSIC.
All right, we are back. Segment number 2 here today on the Scoreboard. 704-873-1400. That is the phone number if you have something you'd like to talk about. Questions, comments, concerns. We take them all here. It doesn't even have to be sports related. It doesn't matter to me. Oh, we were talking about college football before we went to the break there. And, well, it is rivalry weekend, and there's a lot of good games on store. That includes the Ohio State-Michigan number 2 versus number 3 game. And just as a reminder, Harbaugh, coach, will not be on the sideline for Michigan. His final game banned from the sidelines. He had a 3-game ban or, to the end of the regular season as it was worded. So I wonder, if this happened week 1, would he have been banned from being on the sideline until the end of the regular season? Or was it just convenience to wait a week and then say, okay, you can't be there? I don't know. But the big story is what is going to happen with Florida State when these college football rankings come out. I'm still waiting to see something about it, and unfortunately, they haven't come through yet. It's gonna happen like 2 minutes after this show ends tonight. It always happens like that. I don't know why, but that's what always happens. So no update as of right now, but I will bring that to you once we see it. The AP rankings now has Washington State at 4, so that means a little something. Maybe not, but that is at least what we have on store. So for Florida State, their backup is now, or their quarterback now is Tate Rodmaker. He is a junior. He had a decent showing when he came in there late in the game, and well, it wasn't against the greatest opponent in the world, but nonetheless, they won. They scored all those points in a row. I mean, they were down 13-0 to start the game, and then all of a sudden it was like, hey, we're just not going to lose anymore. So I don't know where they slot in. It's going to be tough. It really is. I don't envy at all the committee members and having to decide who gets to be in the top 4. And we talk about this top 4 thing like it's set in stone, like it's so important. And it is, but next year we expand to 12. And while there's a little bit of rhyme and reason to who is allowed to be in the college football playoffs, it still also has to do with rankings a little bit. And we're going to have these same conversations, but for different ranked teams now. It's just going to move the conversation from who should be 4, who should be 5, to who should be, 10, 11, 12, whatever it ends up being. Because, if you win your conference, then you get an automatic bid. One non-Power 5 conference gets it. It's a whole thing. I don't know why they have to make this stuff so complicated, but they do. And that's college football for you. People eat it up. People love it. So there you go. Who am I to question college football? Oh, we had an NFL game last night, and boy, it was a good one. It's been a while since we've seen a really good primetime football game. But Monday night, the Eagles and the Chiefs, a rematch of last year's Super Bowl. I, once again, did not watch the regular telecast. I watched the Manning cast because those guys are hilarious. And in the rematch, the Eagles did get their revenge. They came away victorious 21-17. And look, when this game started, I thought it was just going to be a shootout. I really did. Didn't turn out that way. Defenses played pretty well. And the Chiefs had the ball at the end of the game. And I know everybody was thinking about this. 4th and 25. Mahomes can still get that. I mean, it's not the worst thing in the world. And he hit a guy in the hands and almost converted it. It reminds me of when the Chiefs played the Bucs in the Super Bowl. The Buccaneers, if you will. And, his receivers weren't doing him any help. There were diving throws. He was parallel to the ground, throwing the ball into the end zone. Mahomes is going to Mahomes, but his team, well, they didn't give him that much help. Chiefs now fall to 7-3 on the year, and the Eagles slowly but surely becoming that Super Bowl caliber team that we were expecting from them to start the year. They're the best team in the NFL. They sit as the only team with one loss through this part of the season, 9-1. And then a couple of 8-win teams behind them. The Lions sitting at 8-2, and the Ravens at 8-3. Some interesting news from the NFL scene. Number one, Zach Wilson got benched. The Jets really don't have an answer right now. I think it's so funny that they had all this time. They had from beginning of the year, week number 1, to go get a better backup for Aaron Rodgers because they knew the backup was going to play. And they said, you know what? It didn't work the first year. It didn't work the second year. But year number 3, Zach Wilson, he's going to figure it out. He's going to go crazy as the backup for Rodgers. Well, he's been pretty bad. He ends up getting benched. And now Tim Boyle is going to be the starting quarterback. Their next game is on Friday. And it's a primetime game. And it's the first ever Black Friday game. And it's against the Dolphins. I'm not saying that the Dolphins are going to go out and put up 70 points again, because it's not going to happen. But this game just feels like one where at the beginning of the year, a Black Friday game against the Dolphins and Chiefs, or Dolphins and Jets, sounded amazing. But as we get through the year with injuries and, oh no, Aaron Rodgers isn't even going to be there, this turns into one of those games where you wish they could have flexed it and moved to another time. Speaking of flexing, week 13, I got news that the Panthers game has been flexed to 4 o'clock. So just be aware of that. We will talk about that more in the coming weeks. But from this weekend here, Panthers lose again, 33-10. What did you expect? I really didn't expect much. We're probably staring a coaching change right in the face. There's no way around it at this point. Something has to happen. Somebody's got to pay the consequence for this bad season. And that's just the way the NFL works. It might not necessarily be somebody's fault, but somebody's got to pay the consequences. And I would expect the coaching staff and front office both to bear responsibility for this one. The surprise of the weekend from the NFL, before we start previewing what's coming up, because we do want to make sure we get into everything. The surprise of the weekend, Browns beating the Steelers. We talked about that with Dorian Thompson-Robinson being the quarterback now as Deshaun Watson has undergone shoulder surgery, ending his season. Well, the Steelers lost 13-10, and today, to the glorious applause of Steelers fans everywhere, it was announced that Mike Tomlin had fired offensive coordinator for the Steelers, Matt Canada. And, well, I don't know if anybody watched the game against the Browns, but one of the final plays of the game, Kenny Pickett dropped back, crossing route wide open. Nobody near him. Would have been a walk-in game-winning touchdown. Instead, he doesn't see him, takes the sack. And I guess that's what ended Matt Canada's career in Pittsburgh. Maybe. The fact that Kenny Pickett can't find an open receiver. I feel like people are trying to baby him along still because Mike Tomlin's the coach of this team. And because they do sit at 6-4, they're like, hey, maybe this quarterback isn't all that bad. But then you see decision-making like that, and it's like, oh boy, is this his rookie year? No, it's his second year. Oh. Ooh, yikes. That was a big surprise for me. Also, the Broncos beating the Vikings. Poor Josh Dobbs. I hope the magic isn't over yet, but. Moving on from the NFL, before we go to our next break, I do want to bring MLB back and also talk about some NASCAR here, but, well, we're going to start with the NASCAR, actually. There was a report on Fox from Bob Pockris. There is a link now to the Stewart-Haas number 10 car for the NASCAR silly season. I know everybody loves them a silly season where we get to talk about who's going to be driving what car next year, but it seems like the favorite for the number 10 car, formerly driven by Eric Almirola, is Noah Gragson. Gregson was released earlier in the year for liking a racially insensitive social media post. He was reinstated in September, but he wasn't given his ride back. He didn't find another ride. And Carson Hocevar did a pretty good job in that car without him there. But now it looks like he is going to be the favorite, and that'll be interesting because they'll SHR would then have two rookie drivers in the Cup Series. Josh Berry, who's going to be in the 4 car for Kevin Harvick, and then I don't know if Gregson will technically lose his rookie stripes because he did half a season, but I would assume he's going to hold on to them. We got to go to a break here. When we're back, we'll have a lot more for you, including some NHL, NBA news, and we'll talk NFL with whatever time we have left. Looking forward into Thanksgiving and Black Friday and Sunday and Monday Night Football and all that fun stuff. Don't go anywhere. You're listening to The Scoreboard here on WSIC. We're back after this.
Keep it right here. There's more of the Scoreboard with Joe Berg on the way from the new 105.9 100.7 WSIC.
Get into Randy Marion Chevrolet in Statesville.
Randy Marion Chevrolet in Statesville. We've got the power buys, including a 2022 Chevrolet work truck. That's the long bed, record cab, two-wheel drive V8 engine. These trucks range anywhere from 8,000 miles up to 15,000 miles. How much? $23,988. $23,988. Huge selection. Randy Marion Chevrolet in Statesville. Come see us today. Right on Gaither Road. Look for the spinning car, folks, because that is where the deals are.
King of Price. RandyMarionStatesville.com.
And now for a look at your weather forecast from the WSIC Weather Center. We are not quite out of the clear just yet. There's a 90% chance of precipitation through the evening and overnight hours. Otherwise, cloudy skies, and that low temperature is only going to be down around 53 degrees. Winds are going to pick up too through the overnight. We'll have gusts getting up to 26 miles per hour. This has been your weather forecast from the WSIC Weather Center.
The Ugly Antenna has now become a household name in this area. The Ugly Antenna allows those without a streaming provider to receive up to 50 channels absolutely free of charge, including Fox 46.1. The Ugly Antenna is small and connects directly to your TV. Get the Ugly Antenna for just $40. Call 704-682-1755. That's 704-682-1755 for the Ugly Antenna.
Here's a WSIC Business Minute with local entrepreneur and host of Local Biz Now, Joe Vagnone.
Simple first steps to opening your small business. Keep good records. Keeping good records will help you monitor the progress and keep track of your startup costs. Register your business correctly. You can go to the SBA website. It is a guide that is absolutely essential for registering a business and attaining important, reliable information on business laws, employment, finance, environmental. Get a good phone. You may want to ensure that your phone is set up and is connected with all of your systems and your computer. Don't skimp on your phone. And while we're talking about it, invest in a quality computer. Don't forget about these tools. They will be very helpful in starting your small business.
This has been a WSIC Business Minute with Joe Vagnone. Listen for tips on how to improve your business daily on WSIC News Talk Now.
Buying gifts in this economy? Forget about it. Introducing the 12 Days of Christmas giveaway. For your chance to win, register online at WSICnews.com/holiday. Kitchen essentials, tech toys, kids gifts, a mountain getaway, and much, much more.
Oh, yeah.
WSIC's 12 Days of Christmas giveaway. Winners will be drawn each weekday morning on Good Morning LKN starting December 7th through December 22nd.
A run game finds some life. I'm Anish Shroff with this Panthers update.
It's bow time. 'Tis the season for food and family, but thanks to Bojangles, you don't have to spend hours in the kitchen when loved ones come home for the holidays. Set down the spatula and put away the mixing bowls, because this holiday season, Bojangles is ready to help you celebrate with all your family favorites like Chicken Supreme, Cajun Filet Biscuits, or a big bow box of hand-breaded chicken, scratch-made biscuits, and fixins for the whole family. We'll make the food so you can focus on making memories. Head to Bojangles and gift yourself a taste of home. It's bow time.
A big emphasis for Carolina the last few weeks is reestablishing the run game. Sunday against Dallas, both Chuba Hubbard and Miles Sanders cracked 50 yards. The Panthers averaged almost 5 yards per carry. Frank Reich felt it was a step in the right direction.
I thought the guys really dominated, especially in the first half physically in the run game. It really gave us a chance. Where we fell short was, as you know, we're running the ball for 6 yards, for 6 yards a carry, feel good about it. But, it comes down to a few third downs and plays in the red zone that we're not putting points on the board. So we have to be more dynamic and finish drives. When you can run it like that, it goes a long way towards setting other things up and slowing down a pass rush. But we weren't able to capitalize with points the way we needed to when we were running the ball that effectively.
While the run game produced, pass protection didn't, and that's where the Cowboys were able to feast.
We weren't able to hold up as well as we did. And we knew coming in, right, this was a unique defensive front, probably the best defensive front in the league. A lot of good pass rushers. It's not just Micah Parsons, who is an elite player, but they're very talented across that front.
Next up for Carolina, a trip to Nashville Thanksgiving weekend to face the Titans. I'm Anish Shroff with this Panthers update brought to you by Morris Jenkins.
It's the Scoreboard with your host, Sports Director Joe Berg, on the new 105.9 100.7 WSIC.
All right, we are back halfway through already. It's been a quick one. You're listening to the Scoreboard here on WSIC 105.9 100.7 FM. We have a big slate of NFL games coming up this weekend. I know the later we get in the season, the more important these games get. But this one's important for a completely different reason. The 2-8 Patriots head to the Meadowlands to take on the 3-8 New York Giants. Why is that important? I feel like the loser of that game is going to have a much better chance at getting a good draft pick, obviously. But if the Giants win and the Patriots lose, and the Giants now run by future Hall of Fame quarterback Tommy DeVito, don't ever forget it. But if the Patriots lose this game and they're going to be in the spot to have a top 1 or even 2 or 3 overall pick, does Belichick think about staying, taking one of those top draft picks and saying, you know what, I'm going to rebuild him. I'm going to rebuild this team. We're going to start with a fresh quarterback. No more Mac Jones. Goodbye. Exile him somewhere else and start fresh. Get a number 1 draft pick, like a high first round. I'm talking first pick, second pick, third pick, somewhere over there. Then maybe Belichick thinks about staying, in my opinion. Or he's already left. He's already gone. Here's my question with this whole Belichick situation, because as we go farther into the year, you're going to hear more and more about it. I've heard Dan Orlovsky, if anybody knows who he is, he's famous for being the Lions quarterback during the 0-16 season. He ran out of the back of the end zone. That Dan Orlovsky said that it is already set in stone where Belichick's going after this season. And to that, I say, isn't there an interview process? Isn't there like rules against how many people and who you're allowed to interview? What happened to the Rooney Rule? Is it just because it's Bill Belichick that they don't have to follow it? And we could talk about the Rooney Rule all we want. Making rules for somebody to hire a head coach, saying you have to interview a certain ethnicity is ridiculous on its own, because it happens all the time. You find your guy and you say, okay, this is the guy we're going to hire. And then you just kind of have to go through the rest of the interviews just because you don't want to get in trouble. But is there going to be no interview process, or can Belichick just walk up to one of these teams that doesn't have a quarterback and say, or a head coach and say, you know what, this is my next destination. I'm coming here. I'm coming to Washington. I'm going to take hold of the Commanders and bye. If you don't like it, sorry, this is my team now. I feel like you could do that. It's Bill Belichick. So that's a pretty big game coming up this weekend. Also, Panthers and Titans. Panthers 1-9, Titans 3-7. The Panthers have to win a few games, because I don't want to see the embarrassment of a team being the worst team in the NFL and not owning their number 1 pick. That's horrifying. Doesn't happen very much where a number 1 draft pick is to a different team just because it was traded the year before. So we need the Panthers to win, and that's an opportunity right there. I know they got a different quarterback, Will Levis, so a battle of rookies over there, but we got to get a win. And the Titans game, that's a good chance to get a win. But some of the more serious games, let's get into that. 4:25 on Sunday, Bills at the Eagles. Whew, you want to talk about a team that really needs to cling on to the playoffs right now? That is the Buffalo Bills. If they fall to 6-6, I think there's a good chance they miss these playoffs. Because right now, the final teams into the playoffs are the Texans and the Steelers. Both of those teams sit at 6-4. Bills 6-5, and then you go to the 5-5, Colts, Broncos, Bengals. Bengals, we can kind of forget about them now that they don't have Joe Burrow. But going against the Eagles I'm calling it a must-win situation because they absolutely need to keep pace with these other wildcard teams. I don't know if they're going to be able to catch the Dolphins for the division. That is one where you're really going to have to keep an eye on it. Also, let's talk about the Thanksgiving games also before we move on from this. Packers, Lions, obviously. Commanders, Cowboys, and 49ers, Seahawks. That late one, the 8:20 game, probably going to end up being the most entertaining of the bunch. That's the one thing about Thanksgiving games is they are set in stone and there's no flexing out of them. So there's nothing you can do when you have a game like the 4-7 Commanders going against the 7-3 Cowboys. Nothing we can do about it. The Lions, we know they're always going to be playing on Thanksgiving. Always. Same with the Cowboys. They're always going to play on Thanksgiving. But their opponents, just let them play each other. Every year, just do that. Make it a better game. More interesting, at least. And then the first ever Black Friday game. I don't know how many people are going to be watching this one. Day after Thanksgiving, food combed out. Most of us are probably going to be sleeping until 3 o'clock anyway. But this is another one that, yeah, it's a football game in the NFL, but it's going to be on Prime Video. Amazon Prime, yet again. And this feels like a negotiation by Amazon that was done in the offseason where it was like, hey, Amazon, remember, Thanksgiving's on a Thursday, so that Thursday night, you're not going to have a game. It's just going to be on our national networks. And Jeff Bezos probably went, yeah, you thought, we'll host a game the next day. We're not missing a week. Wouldn't surprise me. If that's how it went, it would not surprise me because it seems like the only reason that we have this Black Friday football game is because Amazon wasn't able to have a game on Thursday with Thanksgiving. And I can't wait for Amazon to not have any more games. I'm scared for the day that we have an Amazon-hosted playoff game or even worse, a Super Bowl on Amazon. I don't know what would be worse. A Super Bowl on Amazon or a Super Bowl in London? Which one would be worse? Oh, man, that's tough. Those are both pretty bad. But we'll talk more about the NFL tomorrow because we do want to make sure that we preview all of that stuff before we head into the long and extended weekend, if you will. We have some awards to go through in the MLB. I know we kind of talked about it a little bit, but I want to make sure with the last couple of minutes that we have for the break, we recognize every award winner from the MLB. Not the Gold Glove or Silver Slugger. There's too many of them. So your manager of the year for the American League was Brandon Hyde with the Baltimore Orioles. Skip Schumacher in the NL with the Miami Marlins. Rookie of the year, American League, Gunnar Henderson with the Orioles. Corbin Carroll in the NL with the Diamondbacks. The Cy Young Award winners were Blake Snell with the Padres and the American League, Garrett Cole with the Yankees. And we talked about this a little bit already. Shohei Ohtani, unanimous. He won the MVP in the American League with the Angels. And Ronald Acuna Jr., who I thought was the only obvious choice for NL MVP, ends up taking that award home. One more segment on this Tuesday. Stay with me. I know, we're almost there. We're almost home. You're listening to the Scoreboard here on WSIC. Don't go anywhere. We're back after this.
it right here. There's more of the Scoreboard with Joe Berg on the way from the new 105.9 100.7 WSIC.
Here is your WSIC community calendar. Happy Thanksgiving. From all of us at WSIC, we hope everyone is able to spend some time with those that they love. Join the Cornelius Parks and Rec Department this Saturday for the 12th annual Light Up Cornelius, presented by Novant Health from 4 to 7 p.m. in downtown Cornelius. Festivities will include holiday songs, train rides, a sledding hill, food and craft vendors, and a visit from Santa. See you Saturday! Want to see more than 5 million Christmas lights at one time? Speedway Christmas is back. Happening daily, the amazing Speedway Christmas at Charlotte Motor Speedway is happening now through January 7th. The show is open 6 to 10 p.m., rain or shine. The Infield Christmas Village is open Thursday through Sunday nights. Speedway Christmas at Charlotte Motor Speedway, now through January 7th. For tickets, visit charlottemotorspeedway.com. Community singers of Lake Norman are performing again Christmas style. December 3rd in Mooresville, December 5th in Huntersville, and December 11th in Cornelius, each evening at a different church. 3 shows, 3 nights. Community Singers of Lake Norman. For more info, visit lakenormansings.com. The Community Singers of Lake Norman. lakenormansings.com. The Docksiders, performing at Kane Center for the Arts on Saturday, December 9th, are almost sold out. The Docksiders will take you back to the year 1981. Their unique and electric tribute act of yacht rock features songs from Hall & Oates, Christopher Cross, Kenny Loggins, and more. The Docksiders, Saturday, December 9th at Kane Center for the Arts. To purchase your tickets, visit kanearts.org. Have an event you'd like to tell people about? Yard sales, estate sales, and everything in between? Visit WSICnews.com and click on events to submit your event today.
And now for a look at your weather forecast from the WSIC Weather Center. We are not quite out of the clear just yet. There's a 90% chance of precipitation through the evening and overnight hours. Otherwise, cloudy skies, and that low temperature is only going to be down around 53 degrees. Winds are going to pick up too through the overnight. We'll have gusts getting up to 26 miles per hour. This has been your weather forecast from the WSIC Weather Center.
Hello, friends. This is Dwight with Gullion's Christian Supply and Homeschool Headquarters, inviting you to join the Gullion family and staff in praising the Lord for 30 years of providing you with trustworthy and inspiring books, Bibles, music, gifts, and supplies. We so appreciate your support and friendship over all these years. With locations in King and Statesville, North Carolina, visit us again soon for encouraging fellowship and essential provisions for your Christian life. Gullion's Christian Supply and Homeschool Headquarters, where the Bible stands.
Your home for non-stop Christmas music.
You serious, Clark?
Starting at 12 a.m. Thanksgiving Day.
The Scoreboard with Joe Berg continues now on the new 105.9 100.7 WSIC.
All right, final segment here on the Scoreboard. I got some news here come across my desk during the commercial. This from Adam Schefter. ESPN's presentation of the Super Bowl rematch between the Eagles and the Chiefs was the most watched Monday Night Football game in 27 years, with more than 29 million viewers. It is the largest Monday night game watched since Green Bay at Dallas in 1996, when 31.5 million people watched that. That's more than 450 games in between those two games. So that was a pretty interesting game, you know? And with it being a Super Bowl rematch and that many people watching, I feel bad for Marquez Valdes-Scantling and the dropped pass that he had towards the end of that game. I'm sure it doesn't feel good, man. I'm sure it doesn't, because it was right in his hands with a minute and a half left. A shot downfield. He had the separation. And I guess it hit him in a bad spot. You know, we could talk about the rain all we want. Yeah, I get it. It was raining, but you still got to catch that ball. Today is Tuesday, and it's November. That means we have NBA in-season tournament action. All right, here's the deal. Here is the deal. There's only been 4 teams eliminated from the play-in tournament, or from the in-season tournament, I should say. The Pistons, the Wizards, the Grizzlies, and Victor Wembanyama and the San Antonio Spurs. That's sad. Would have been nice to see him do good. I mean, he is doing good. He's having a wonderful rookie year. Talking about the team. So the Hornets don't play tonight, actually. They haven't had their next game of the in-season tournament. They have played 3 already. Their last one is in New York against the Knicks. They would kind of need some help to make it in. They're not eliminated yet, but they would need to win, and they would need the Heat and the Bucks to lose their final 2 games, as well as the Knicks. They would need to lose their final 2 games of the in-season tournament for the Hornets to get in, and I just don't see that happening. And I just don't know if this is going to be something that draws attention once we get to the knockout rounds. I don't know if they're calling it a playoff, but there's a knockout round. There's also 1 wild card. So not only will the division winners right now in the East, that's the Bucks, Celtics, Pacers, and in the West, the Lakers, Kings, and Pelicans get in. But there's 1 wild card team. So from the East, that'd be the Miami Heat right now. And the West, it'd be the Minnesota Timberwolves. How are they doing tiebreakers in this? I haven't seen anything about that, because with only 4 games, it seems very likely that you're going to have multiple teams tied at the top of the wild card bracket. But, you know, we can find that one out and bring it back to you and talk about it tomorrow when we recap the in-season tournament games. But I don't care about the in-season. Do we care? Does it matter that the NBA put a tournament in the middle of the season? I get what they're trying to do. I've been saying it's just to bring eyes to the sport. There's better ways to do that. Maybe fix the game. Maybe get rid of the 3-point line. Call travel. Let them be a little physical with each other. I know. I know. I'm venting again, and I get on these rants about basketball and college football and things that bother me, and there's no pulling me back from that. But we're going to reel it in. Ran it in here, and we're going to move on. So in-season tournament games, that's coming up today. Hornets don't play. They play tomorrow, but they're still bad this year. I mean, it's just a mess over there. Speaking of messes, let's talk about the NHL. It's Tuesday. It is a Tuesday in November. There's no NFL. There's a couple of college football games. They don't matter, but there's a couple college football games. But there's no football. Yeah, there's basketball. But if you're the NHL, what are you doing? Why are there no games today? It's a non-NFL game. You should stack every Tuesday and Wednesday with NHL games. It seems logical, doesn't it? And I know they're going to try and stick to that Wednesday night as their specific day of the week, because it looks like the next couple of Wednesdays we have a few games on tap. Tomorrow, 14 games on the schedule in the NHL. It would be a great opportunity for them to do the Frozen Frenzy again. It was a success. It was a big hit. Why aren't you bringing it back? I don't know who runs the marketing department in the NHL, but they should all be fired and hire just a completely new team. Go hire away everybody from Formula One, because they know how to market their sport. The Formula One race on Sunday, man, everybody was talking about how bad it was going to be, but they were talking about it. Turned out to be one of the greatest races of the season. Plenty of overtakes, drama. I know Verstappen won, but didn't you expect that to happen? So Carolina plays Edmonton at home tomorrow. That game is at 7 o'clock. They beat the Penguins in their last game, and they're really starting to kind of settle in a little bit, because these standings in the in the Metro are just brutal. So right now, the New York Rangers lead the Metro with 25 points. Behind them are the Philadelphia Flyers and then the Washington Capitals. 5 points behind the Rangers then sits the Hurricanes. But listen to this, because this is what I'm talking about with the Metropolitan Division in the NHL and the Carolina Hurricanes needing to get off to a much better start. We're getting into the middle stretch of the season here. Behind Carolina is Pittsburgh, New Jersey, and the New York Islanders. 3 points behind. That's 2 games right there. And it can be flopped. And the Hurricanes could be the 7th team in the Metro. It's going to be one of the toughest divisions in hockey this year. It might be the toughest division in hockey. And if the Hurricanes don't continue to win games early in the season, it is going to be massively hard for them to overcome that bad start in February, in March, when it really matters, and even in April when we're getting really close to the playoffs. But we'll see what happens. They've played 17 games already this year. It's an 82-game schedule. I feel like we just said, hey, the NHL season's starting. Cool, let's see what's happening. We're almost a quarter of the way through the season already. Holy moly. That flew. And I don't know how many people here pay attention to the Hurricanes. I know it's weird with them being out in Raleigh and the closest hockey team being in Charlotte and not even being an NHL team. They're an AHL team in the Checkers. And it's cool that they're having their whole outdoor game in January, which is going to be a success. There's no way you can mess that up. With the background of the Charlotte skyline where Truist Field is and where, I think it's Truist Field, where the Charlotte Knights play, that's going to be a beautiful game. I can't wait to see it and see the photos that come out of it because it's going to look beautiful. But the Hurricanes tomorrow at 7 o'clock against the Edmonton Oilers. The Oilers being one of the more surprising teams this year. Not a good start to their season whatsoever. And Connor McDavid's not happy. He is frustrated. And the coach has gotten fired now, and Edmonton sits 7th in the Pacific. Here's the difference between the Metro, the Eastern Conference Metropolitan Division, and other conferences in the NHL. The Edmonton Oilers are 7th in their division. They are 17 points behind the Vegas Golden Knights. The New York Islanders are 7th in the Metro. They're only 8 points behind the New York Rangers. That is a massive difference. And when you look around the rest of the league, you see, hey, the Metro's competitive. It might be the most competitive division. I wonder what happens with McDavid this year, though. Coming off of a 150-point season. We hadn't had a 150-point season since the 90s. I think it was Lemieux who had the last one. And now they're terrible. McDavid's getting older. He's probably not going to win a Stanley Cup sticking around in Edmonton. When does he ask for a trade? Do the Carolina Hurricanes try and get Connor McDavid in the trade deadline this year? We'll talk about that in the next couple of weeks. Stay tuned. Make sure you listen up. Oh, that's not going to happen. If they traded McDavid or Gretzky, I guess it's possible that they trade McDavid. Isn't that the saying? You know, you trade Gretzky, you could trade anybody. Whatever. Doesn't matter. Because the Hurricanes aren't going to get him. Thanks for listening to the Scoreboard here today. Tomorrow, last show of the week before we get to eat a ton of food and sit on the couch and watch football and then be sad on Friday that we ate too much food and then sit on the couch and watch football. So I'll talk to you tomorrow. Thanks for joining me here on the Scoreboard on WSIC. I'll be back tomorrow. Until then, have a good one, everyone.